the last section of Chapter 8, we're dealing with volumes. Volumes have to do with the amount of space that's contained by a solid. So when we're looking at volumes, you're basically going to have three volume formulas that you need to be concerned with. The first volume formula has to do with prisms and cylinders. Okay. And for prisms and cylinders, the volume formula is capital B, capital H. Okay. Remember, capital B represented what? Area of base. Okay, and this can be very dynamic. This can change from figure to figure or solid to solid. Capital H represents the height of the whole solid. Okay, so that's the formula for both of those. Okay, so if we take an example of this, we have these lengths 4, 5, and 6, okay, and we're dealing with this triangular prism. Okay, what is the area formula for this particular figure? Our base is a triangle, so we're going to use the area formula 1/2 base times height times capital H. Again, I recommend that you always begin with the general form of your equations and then plug in the information. So if we use, let's say this is the base of our triangle, what would be the corresponding height of this triangular base? 3. It's a 3, 4, 5 common triple. And then the height of our solid itself would be 6. Okay, and so now you can solve your volume. Winds up being pretty simple. 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 6 gives you 36. We're dealing with unknown units, so volume is a three-dimensional measurement of space, so we have cubic units for that. Okay. As far as cylinders are concerned, cylinder is exactly the same formula. There's absolutely no difference. The reason that these have the same volume formula is they're both set up with parallel and congruent bases that are just connected through a solid link of figures. So here when we look at the volume formula for the cylinder, it's still going to be capital B, capital H. But what is the shape of our base here? Circle. So the area formula that we're going to use is pi r squared H. Okay, so again, if you wanted, you could think of this as a separate volume formula, but it's based on the same. It's the same formula. Volume equals base times, or the area of the base times the height of the solid. Okay, so if we're working through this problem, we can plug in, let's give it some values here. Let's say this whole measure is 10, this whole measure 20. Okay, if you're looking at this, what's the radius going to be? The radius is 5. And then the height would be 20. So if we multiply these through, we get 5 squared is 25 times 20. And again, it's easiest when you multiply if you're doing this through mental calculations. If you can mentally think of this as 2 times 10, winds up being an easier calculation, because if you double 25, you get 50, and then times 10, you get 500. So you get 500 pi cubic units because we're dealing with three-dimensional unknown units. Okay. Right, so that's the formula for both prisms and cylinders. Questions about that?